if Marvel made Guardians of the Galaxy rated R, I seriously feel as though it will probably be the best Marvel movie of all time. Because what the Hi guys, I'm Marcus and welcome to Deep Cut Cinema, and I am about to spoil the living out of the Suicide Squad, the sequel to 2016's Suicide Squad. They just put a "the" at the beginning of this one, so now we have the sequel. And I am going to go into some heavy, deep spoilers at the end of this video. But before we get into that, I'm going to start off with a non-spoiler review for this movie. So hold on for 1 second because I have to drink my orange juice, and I'll symbolize that as tea because this movie was awesome. Oh my gosh. I cannot stress to you how great this movie was. This movie was phenomenal. I beg you to go see this movie because this movie deserves your praise. If you have it on HBO Max, it's definitely a movie that you need to go see at the movie theater like I just did, even though there is a variant out there. I really would implore you to go see this in a safe space where you know that this theater that you can go to is keeping everybody at a distance. Or if you want to invite a whole bunch of people over, put on HBO Max and watch this movie because this movie is so great. I cannot stress that enough. So, negatives. I'll just start off right there. The one negative that I can figure out throughout this whole entire movie that I can think about is in two scenes where the dialogue is very you can't really understand what the actor is saying. I don't necessarily know if that was a mixing problem. So there's one scene at the end where I couldn't understand what the dialogue was, and then there's one scene at the beginning where Harley Quinn is talking to another character, and I could not understand what they were saying, but the scene is played on a joke, and it worked well because it threw me off because I felt like Harley Quinn was kind of like thinking like the audience in a way, where we didn't understand what the character was saying. It was a guy, okay. What the character was saying, and she couldn't understand what the character was trying to say at the same time. So that was my only gripe for this movie. Everything else was full on praise. I promise you. This movie is definitely one of the best movies I've seen all year. I haven't really seen that many movies this year because there haven't really been that many, but this movie was really great. It was super awesome. James Gunn, this is what he does best. When you put James Gunn, when you tell him that he has the freedom to do whatever he wants to, Guardians of the Galaxy was definitely freedom for him, but he still had to keep it at a PG-13 rating. This movie was R, and he was able to slice and dice literally and just make this movie pop for the audience. This movie, he definitely deserves so much praise for this movie at how he was able to handle some of the weirdest shit that you will ever see in a comic book movie. I promise you, the end of this movie, it will make comic book nerds, and I'm not a full comic book nerd, But I was looking at this movie, at the end of this movie, I was like, comic book nerds are going to piss themselves when they see how fucking bonkers the end of this movie is. I promise you, the end of this movie was just balls to the wall, insane. But that is, I cannot stress to you enough how awesome this movie is. I don't have rating systems because I truly don't like to give a rating for movies, but if I was to give a rating for this movie out of, you should see, how should I rank movies? Deep, dumb, or somewhat good, or in the middle, or whatever. This movie was deep as fuck. I wouldn't even say it's deep or anything, but it was dope. I can't come up with a rating scale. I really can't. 10 out of 10, I'll just say that. So if you want a rating, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. If there was a grade, it was an A plus. This movie was hands down just the best I've ever seen. It's going to be in everybody's top 10 comic book movies of all time. I'm pretty sure it will be. I'm pretty sure it will. But now that we have gone through the non-spoilery, because I cannot do a review with non-spoiler things. So if you have not seen the movie just yet, turn this video off, go watch the movie, come back, watch this review, or if you would like to be spoiled, then so be it. I truly hope that you do not like to be spoiled, because you don't want to be spoiled. I would rather you go into this movie fresh, not knowing, because the trailers, they are fooling the crap out of you. These trailers, that we've seen a trailer last year for DC Fandom, and I think that wasn't even a trailer. I think that was really just more of a behind the scenes look. But the trailers that we've seen so far, ever since the first trailer, it doesn't show half of what the F this movie is about. So let's go ahead and get into the spoilers. The movie starts off with one of the greatest intros to a comic book movie I have ever seen in my entire life. And this is somebody who loves The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is the best movie, my favorite movie, but it may not be yours, but it is the best comic book movie of all time, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people share that sentiment. This doesn't rival that, but if we were to keep it in the comic book movie niche, this movie would be hands down in the top 5 best introductions to a comic book movie of all time. I'm just saying, that's a mic drop for this movie, but the intro to this movie, and it took me out. I will say that if you've watched this movie and you've seen how the intro to how it plays out, it took me out of the movie, because it felt like I was being thrown into the movie like midway into it. And like I felt bad because there was these people that kind of like came late to the screening, and they were sitting like next to me, and they like came in and they sat right down and everything. And even though they were only just about 2 minutes late, like the movie had already started within 2 minutes of the movie, but I felt bad for them because I felt like they were thinking like how I was thinking, like where even though I was watching it from beginning to where it was now, they were watching it from 2 minutes into it, and I felt as though they were probably like, what did I just miss? Because this just completely just felt like I missed a chunk of the movie, and now half of the Suicide Squad is dead. Like, James Gunn kills literally everybody who's like expendable, the expendable ones, automatically, like at the beginning of the movie. And right after that, well, not everybody, because Harley Quinn and Rick Flag were a part of the first group of people that Amanda Waller sends to this island. And I forgot the name of the island, but that's the whole mission, is that they're going to this island to basically, I'll get into that. But they go into the island and there's like expendable characters. They all die because what's his name? Ariana's ex. Whatever his name. Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson, dumbass, just like, we're here, and they start shooting these like military people. They start killing all of the Suicide Squad members. Some of them like die randomly. Captain Boomerang from the first movie dies. Like, everybody just gets the chopping block at the beginning of this movie. And Michael Rooker, who plays Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy, he's like, fuck this shit. Like, I'm about to get out of here. This is crazy. These people are dying. I am out of here. And of course, Amanda Waller has the Suicide Squad. Everybody has chips behind their neck. And so, like, he's like, I'm swimming the hell away from this. This is crazy. And then she's like, turn back around. No, you're not. You are not going anywhere. And she pushes the button, blows his head up, and he's gone. So I was like, wait, what just happened here? What just happened? And this is why I gave the reference as to the people that came next to me. They didn't like turn to me and be like, they didn't turn to me and say like, did we just miss like 20 minutes of the movie or anything? But I was feeling their energy, and I noticed I could tell that they were like, wait, what just happened? They didn't miss anything. That was just how the movie starts, and it was just perfect. And I can't wait to see it again and see the reactions on everybody's faces with that. But that was the beginning, and it was great. But long story short, the synopsis of the movie, where Amanda Waller is trying to get her Task Force X to go to this island. This island, I forgot the name of the island's name, but the politicians have been kind of like dealing with like a communist system or an authoritarian system. They don't really explain what kind of system they rule under, or what, not system, but what kind of democracy they rule under. They really don't really have a democracy, because their citizens aren't able to vote, and they form a coup against the government. Amanda Waller gives the explanation on that, but that's not really even the bulk of the movie. That's just more of like B storyline. A storyline is to go to this base that they have on this island, which is called Jotunheim. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, clearly James Gunn is still in the Marvel headspace when he's writing these movies, because Jotunheim, Thor, like, that's what I thought in my head when I seen this. But they have to infiltrate Jotunheim and retrieve, or go and find this guy named the Thinker. So they have to find him to get them into Jotunheim. So they have to go to this bar. This is all the explanation that Amanda Waller is telling her A Suicide Squad team. And the reason why I say A Suicide Squad team, because the B Suicide Squad team, besides Rick Flag and Harley Quinn, they all die within the first 5 minutes. But the A Suicide Squad team consists of Idris Elba, whose character's name is Bloodsport. Um, John Cena, whose character's name is Peacemaker. Forgot the guy's name. He was in The Dark Knight, actually. He was in The Dark Knight, and he was also in Ant-Man, in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I forget what his name is, but he plays Polka Dot Man, and I was just like, really? Polka Dot Man is in this movie? Like, Polka Dot Man is like D-tiered Batman villain. Probably F-tiered. But he was in this movie, and it worked for everything. So Polka Dot Man is in this movie, and I forgot the other character's name, but she controls rats. And she is more of the heart of the whole entire group. And then you also have King Shark. I love King Shark, who's voiced by Sylvester Stallone. And he was like one of my favorite characters. All of the A-Team Suicide Squad members were just great. And, you know, you've seen what the storyline was trying to portray. And so they have to infiltrate this island and then retrieve the Thinker to get to Jotunheim and destroy what is Starro. So the end of this movie, if you are a comic book lover, I am not the best in knowing all comic book lore, but I do know Starro because I remember seeing the first copy of the Justice League comic book, which is against Starro. Starro is one of their first villains of the Justice League, and there's a cover. Their cover is with Starro there, and all of these mini children of Starro on the faces of each Justice League member to mind control them. And that is shown at the end of this movie, and it was bonkers. It was wild. It was really just out there, and I cannot believe that they did that. I really could not have believed that. But the end of this movie was spectacular. I stress this. I cannot stress this enough. That the end of this movie was really, really good. And the way that James Gunn weaves these characters together, where they share the stories together. Like in the scene, there's a scene where they're riding to the bar to go get the Thinker, and the character who controls rats is explaining that her dad was a heroin addict, and it kind of relates to Bloodsport, Idris Elba's character, because he is a father. The whole purpose for him on this mission is for him to not have his daughter, who is a thief like him, or a criminal like him, to not be in prison because Amanda Waller is basically blackmailing, or not blackmailing him, blackmailing him, or trying to get him to join the team by using his daughter as bait. And it was just awful. And I love the way Viola Davis plays Amanda Waller. She does a perfect job. She was great in the last movie, and I did not hate the last movie like a lot of people did. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was bad, and I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was somewhere in the middle. But she definitely stole that whole entire movie in the last movie. But this movie, she was even more ruthless. Like, she was like despicable in the scene where there's a scene at the end of the movie where like the Suicide Squad, the A-tiered Suicide Squad team, they're just like, the Starro thing is about to take over this island and kill all of these people that live on this island and infiltrate them. And Amanda Waller is like, there's nothing that we could do about that. So you need to get your ass back on this jet and come back. Enough said. And she's just like a real full-on bitchy, like, I was even hating her right there. Like like that is just how great Viola Davis is in this role. And she's just like, I will push this button. Y'all are all about to die. I don't care. Because if she pushes that button, they heads explode. And she's just like close to doing it. And somebody that is one of the other government agents that work with Amanda Waller, she like hits her in the head with like a golf club, and it was just it got cheers throughout the whole entire theater. Like everybody was clapping. The whole entire theater was clapping. But this movie definitely shows you everything that James Gunn can do without being restricted. And I say that not in a bad way or to criticize certain things that he couldn't do in a Marvel movie, because Marvel is definitely catered towards getting, like, you know, children in the seats as well to go with their parents to go see these movies. So he has to keep it in a PG-13 realm. But this movie was rated R, and he was able to kill people left to right, and there was so much violence in this movie that was just great to see. Like, it was great violence. Like, I loved it. It felt almost like a Kill Bill movie. I mean, not Kill Bill. It felt like a Quentin Tarantino movie. That's what it felt like. But the reason why I say it felt like Kill Bill was because there was a scene with Harley Quinn, and she goes all crazy. Like, she goes out of this world, just off on everybody. Like, it was just great. And it felt like Kill Bill. It felt like the scene where Beatrix, I had to remember her name, Beatrix was going, when she was going after all of the crazy 88. Like, she did this. Like, it was just great. And there was a lot of scenes in the movie that was just great, like that scene. And then there's a scene where the A team Suicide Squad is like they're in the jungle, and they're killing all of these little operatives and everything, and they're killing them in like weird ways. Like John Cena, he's like a really great marksman, just like Bloodsport, Idris Elba's characters. Like, they're like both good at aiming and killing people really good with almost anything. And the scene just plays out just so well. It just played out just so well. And I feel as though James Gunn is at the best right here in this movie. Like, he directs the living crap out of this movie. Like, really good. Like, this movie is better than Guardians of the Galaxy. Sorry. I can't get the words out. Like, this, he does a great job with this whole entire movie and putting these characters into place. Like, I watched an interview with him where he's talking about, like, you know, he wants these D-tiered villains. He wants these D-tiered characters because that gives him the range of going any kind of way he wants to. Like, he could go all out, and he did. Like, he literally went all out with everybody. And when you see how the end plays out with Starro, you will definitely enjoy it, and you will probably like be like, what the entire fuck did I just watch? Because it hands down is probably one of the weirdest scenes that I have ever seen in a comic book movie. And it was great. It was really great at how weird it was. And I really just hope that you feel the same feelings that I felt when I watched this movie. And I'm not really well versed into some of these characters, but as an audience member, I was on board. And this had to have been hands down one of my favorite movies of this entire year, and there's not been many of them, but the ones that I have seen so far, I think this is probably up there. And I can't wait to see what else comes out this year, but this is probably number one for me alongside with A Quiet Place 2. But this is there. This is up there, and I had a ball, and I hope that you have had a ball with this movie as well. Make sure that you share your thoughts down below of how did you feel about this movie. Did you like Starro? Did you like the way that James Gunn directed this movie and written this movie? Because he did both of them. And he did a really great job, and it makes me more excited to see what he has in store for Guardians 3. And I hope that they bring him back for Suicide Squad 3. I don't know. I really want them to bring him back, but I just know that you can't get two things at once. But maybe Suicide Squad 3 will come out like further down the line once Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is fully wrapped and everything. So here's to hoping for that. But share your thoughts down below. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel for more juicy content that is coming out for the Deep Cut Cinema channel. So make sure that you like and subscribe and share your comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.